Hi there everyone, Lars here from Camille's Harem. Not just a podcast for novice writers by novice writers, but also a YouTube channel by novice writers for novice writers. Because writing is an adventure, it's more fun with friends. And I want to present you all with a guide on publishing, specifically for novice writers. This is a video that I've wanted to make for a very long time. There is a ton that I have learned as I've tried to get my own stories published, and it is all valuable insights and experiences that can hopefully help you other writers out there find your own success when it comes to your own publishing endeavors. In this publishing guide, I will be straightforward and honest. There are metric buttloads of how to do videos on all aspects publishing, but many of them, though they have good advice, are either too particular or often too condescending. And I've had so many authors talk down to me and other writers as if we have no idea what we're talking about or what we are getting ourselves into. Now, granted, to a certain extent, if you've never published before, it is a wild, crazy ride. And that's the thing. When you try to get published, it feels like you're being thrown into a raging ocean without so much as a floaty, and you're told to sink or swim to the shore. But how? Where? How did I get myself into this? It can be so frustrating and bewildering. And my hope is to give all of you some very useful advice and some encouragement and some comfort in regards to your own publishing endeavors. So to that end, I'm going to break this video into 4 parts. Part number 1, if you don't want to publish. Part number 2, online publishing. Part number 3, self-publishing. And part number 4, traditional publishing. The timestamps are right here on the screen and down in the description. And I wanted to break up this video in this particular way to address the basic needs and concerns that a lot of new writers have when they go into the world of publishing. Obviously, this guide will not address every concern or question that you could have, but I will hit on the big stuff that you need to know so that you can have a less painful publishing experience than I did. And yes, I will be upfront and I will let you know that there's a lot of painful disappointment when it comes to trying to get your stories published. But it is worth it. Trust me, your story is worth it, and you will learn and grow a lot as a creator and as a person by going through this publishing process. So, diving right on in, my very first group, the group that asked themselves, well, what if I don't want to publish? And my answer is, that is perfectly fine. There is no written law that you have to get your story out there to the world. Your family or your friends might say stuff like, you're such a good writer, you should get your works published. But really, you just do it as a hobby. Or maybe you don't want to come under the scrutiny that comes with editing and everything like that. Maybe this is just something you do for fun. Maybe you do want to get published later, but not right now. You know what? All of those thoughts and feelings and more, if you don't want to publish, all of that is fine. You have to be comfortable with the idea of getting published because your story will be thrown into the meat grinder by being constantly edited, scrutinized, criticized, passed up, and finally accepted. And all of that is a roller coaster of emotional highs and lows. So if publishing is not something you want to do, let me tell you that you have my full support in just having fun and not worrying about any of this. Don't cave in to the peer pressure. Now, if you didn't skip ahead to another part in this video and were wondering why I would even include a statement that it's okay not to publish in a video all about publishing, well, there are a lot of writers who feel very overwhelmed by this kind of stuff, whether it be the publishing horror stories that they've heard, or the possibility of confrontation, the embarrassment, the lack of confidence, or that their story is just really bad, smutty fanfiction. Whatever the reason, many writers feel uncomfortable or unready to take that step. And if you are not of the mindset to publish your story, that is okay. Keep doing what you do. Writing brings us all joy. It helps us connect with others and explore deeper meanings and our imagination. Putting your own work out there is when you feel that desire to grow and share your story, hoping that a random stranger will love it as much as you do. And this is a message I feel that many authors and publishers frankly either forget or overlook. So, Let's get to those of you now who want to publish your works online. Publishing your stories online is currently the hot topic and one of the trendiest ways for new writers and creators to break out onto the scene. We're seeing it happen again and again where creators make something amazing and memorable, build up a huge audience, and begin a successful career on the internet. And sometimes they're even optioned by book companies, Hollywood, comic books, or manga studios, etc. It's like the American dream, but for the internet. And everyone has a chance and anyone can make something of themselves by publishing out on the web. Only that is where so many people are going that if you're hoping to publish on a website and get famous, I wish you the best of luck because the odds are really stacked against you. However, if you are looking to just have some fun, maybe gain a small following, see what it's like when your work goes out there into the world and to total strangers, or you just want to get your feet wet with publishing, then honestly, publishing on the web is a very viable option for you. Publishing online opens up all kinds of possibilities, and really the more creative you are, the more you can do. I want to list some of the pros and cons of publishing online and then give you some sites that you might want to consider for your own work. I have found for myself that publishing online is far less stressful and lets me engage at my own leisure with other people. But it does come at the cost of being a very small fish in a very large sea. So, without any further ado, here are the pros of publishing online. By publishing online, you have absolute creative freedom. Whatever you want to write, if you want to write a certain way, if you want pictures, if you want videos, music, etc. to go along with your story, you can do it. Absolute creative freedom. You get to set your own timetable for when you publish. You have greater autonomy. You have direct connection with your audience. You get good feedback and reports for audience engagement, depending on the site that you use. You also have potential partnerships, again, depending on the site that you use. And this is a pro, you have the euphoria of being discovered and praised by total strangers directly. But here are some of the cons to publishing online. Your chances for getting discovered by a large audience are very small. People out there on the internet can also be very, very mean to you and to your story. And they give very little in the way of helpful criticism. And to that same point, people out there on the interwebs can be very strange and very demanding. And it's very easy for you to lose motivation or interest in your work because once again, you get to set your own timetable. And if you're not completely dedicated, you will lose that motivation. And remember, what's on the internet is forever. And that can be kind of embarrassing in the long run. Now, these aren't comprehensive lists of all the positives and negatives of publishing online, but it should give you an idea of what is ahead should you go this route. That being said, publishing online is a great way to get started. I started publishing my little ideas and my fan fictions, as cringy as they are, via varying online forums and sites. It really helped me to tackle head-on the temptation to constantly check my story's popularity and the comments and the addiction that soon follows even just a little success. And as a result, I am a more confident and calm author, and I don't obsess anymore with getting daily feedback and praise. Publishing online and being exposed to all of that meanness out there also helped me to develop a very thick skin to harsh and mean-spirited criticism, which is a very good trait for an author to have. And publishing online can get you feedback on ideas that you might want to expand on in the future. It gives you a chance to see for yourself what works and what doesn't. Now, here are some sites that you might want to consider. And once again, this isn't a comprehensive list. This is what I have experienced for myself. There is fanfiction.net that is out there for anyone who wants to write fan fictions, whether they be good, bad, or absolutely bizarre. Archive of Us is also another good site for fan fictions, but also for some OC works right here, where you want to kind of deviate from the idea of fan fiction and go down your own road. Archive of Us can be pretty good. Archive of Us is not as user-friendly, in my personal opinion, as fanfiction.net, but fanfiction.net does kind of hamper you with what kinds of things you are able to write. But it does give you excellent statistics daily on what is happening with your story, who's reading it, who's liking it, etc. There then is the site Royal Roads. Royal Roads doesn't give you as much feedback as fanfiction.net, but it gives you way more freedom to write what you want to write, and it is a gorgeous website. It is a website that also rewards you for the work that you do, as well as the eyeballs that you bring to your stories. And it is really cool to kind of feel like you're leveling up as you continue to write. Royal Roads is really neat in that regard because it does reward you, and it highly encourages you to be consistent as an author, and I do like that. You then have Wattpad. Wattpad is a very interesting site because there's a lot of really questionable, cringy, bad stories that end up on Wattpad, but Wattpad has a massive following. Wattpad allows you to get all different kinds of comments and insights from your audience. It has pretty good feedback, though not quite as good as fanfiction.net in terms of data. But it does still give you some data to work off on so you can see how your stories are doing. And Wattpad does have more options for you to go the publishing route, to actually get picked up by a traditional publisher or to be published through Wattpad itself. And that is pretty attractive for a lot of aspiring authors. So fanfiction.net, Archive of Us, Royal Roads, Wattpad, those are the sites that I have used in the past. And of course, you can always build your own website to present your story in your own unique way or in a fashion that complements your storytelling. When it comes to being more professional, be very careful about what companies or sites you work with. All these sites care about is their bottom line, how much money they make. Don't lock yourself into any deals without getting as many second opinions as you can, and be very careful about throwing your money into any online endeavors to get your works published or noticed. There are a lot of scams out there. It's honestly better to find a reputable, free forum to work with than to work with an agency that might take advantage of you out there on the internet. When it comes to working with established companies, that is where self-publishing and traditional publishing will be the better option rather than just working with some online company. Now, this brings me to the matter of self-publishing. This path is honestly a brave one for anyone to take, and I understand that a lot of writers decide on taking this route because it grants them greater freedom, a larger cut of the sales, and they don't have someone breathing down their necks. And if their books sell well enough, it becomes a bragging point that they can use to advertise themselves to established publishers later on, and they have a greater chance of getting picked up. It honestly sounds at face value like one of the best publishing options, and even Brandon Sanderson Senpai himself recently stated that if he were starting off as an author today, he would begin by self-publishing. He said that he would ready a number of stories and publish them in quick succession to show that he was a reliable author and could already build a following of readers and fans. But I am here to tell you that if you want to go the route of self-publishing, there are some things you need to know. And for myself, self-publishing was the fallback plan. I initially had a deal with an established publisher, but a series of circumstances and events led me to withdraw my book and then publish it myself through Amazon. Honestly, I believe it was the best move for me to make, and I'm glad that I did it, though it wasn't without a lot of mixed emotions and doubts. Going down the route of self-publishing opened my eyes to a lot of things I didn't previously know, and they are not things that many authors bring up when they talk about self-publishing. If you are going to self-publish, you need the following. Please trust me on this. You need incredible motivation and self-discipline because there is no one else there to motivate you, no contract to lock you in place to make sure that you deliver on the goods. And you need to take care of your own editing. You need to procure all of your own artwork and cover art. You need to do your own advertising. And getting your book out to the public and into bookstores is your responsibility. It requires a ton of work. Everything is on your shoulders. And that doesn't mean that you reap all the rewards. By working with a company that will facilitate the production of your book, they will still take their own large cut for the printing process and paying their employees. Don't think that you'll get quickly rich by going down this route of self-publishing. You do take a greater risk, and so you will get more rewards when you make them, but you must still share those out. And the competition is much stiffer when you lack the resources and support offered by traditional publishers. If you're trying to follow Sanderson's model that I laid out earlier for self-publishing, you have a steep mountain to climb. Now, if you're going to go the self-publishing route because you want more creative freedom for your hobby or personal works, that is fine. This might then just be the best option for you. But I need to also address companies that work with self-published authors. My experience is with Amazon and not with any other self-publishing company. They have a fair system, and their programs for producing your books, both digital and physical, are user-friendly. Though creating a book for print is a royal pain in the keister. But still, you are locked in a contract with them. That's very important to know. You are still locked in a contract with the people who are printing or producing your book. A contract stipulating how much they take from the overall profits, how their services will be rendered, and that you bear the brunt of any legal allegations brought against you in connection to what you publish. Take care that no matter what company you use, that you read the contract. If it doesn't sit well with you, don't sign and look somewhere else. That is absolutely an option for you. Also, there is the matter of personal costs. You will have to pay out of your own pocket for all of your artwork, advertising, professional editing, legal representation, etc. This is a risky investment that you hope will pay off in the long run. In publishing my own book, Knights of Halley Cruise, I have spent nearly $2,000 getting the book ready for publishing. None of that was paid, however, to Amazon, but instead was spent on other services to ready my book. When it comes to working with a company to print your self-published works, you should not be paying them. I repeat, you should not be paying them. This is why they take their cut from the profits to make up for the costs of printing or housing a digital copy of your book. My advice is that you be careful with your money. Don't spend where you don't have to, and keep a record of all your transactions. This is why if you're just self-publishing for fun, it can be an easy process, and even a rewarding one if your story takes off. If you want to make a living off it, it will require far more work and investment on your part. Please take all of this into consideration before self-publishing. I think that if you approach it with more caution and an enlightened mindset, that you will be far more successful and hopefully less stressed out than I was when I first got started with this. But I will add this, it is still a very emotionally draining thing to publish your book. Be ready for all those feels and doubts and stick to the course. You can do it. Remember, your story is worth it. And this is where having a good writing group to help you out with the work and the stress, this is where they are invaluable. So I just want to take the moment right here to give my thanks to Camille, Nathan, Scott, Jed, Spencer, V, Zaza, and all my other friends and family, because I would not have made it through my first novel without you guys. You are all heroes to me, honestly. Finally, let's discuss traditional publishing. All right, real talk here. If you want to make a career of being an author, traditional publishing is the best way to go. Traditional publishing will, in the long run, pay you better, provide you with all the help and resources you need, and the publishers will help advertise your book. They have access to more of the market and all around to get you so much more out of it. It's why they are so fantastic, and also why it's so dang hard to get picked up by a traditional publisher. Because you and your book present a massive investment for these publishers. This means that the trick is how to get noticed and how to sell yourself as their best option. Because just like with all the other sites and all the other places, they are in the business of making money. The two best ways to get noticed are to advertise yourself either directly to the publishers or get an agent. The process for both is very similar. So let me explain here some of the differences. If you appeal directly to the publisher, you'll write up a query. A book query is when you present yourself and your story. Here's the thing. Every book query you write will be different. Every publisher asks for something different, and they do list what they want from you. If you want your book to stand a chance, you must write exactly what the publishers want to see in that query. So if they want a synopsis of your book, your advertisement plans, a quick author's bio in the first 3 chapters of your book, that is exactly what you give them. Nothing more and nothing less. You also need to double check all requirements. Publishers change what they want in their queries all the time. It is very frustrating. Also, publishers have windows for when and what they are accepting, and you must stay on top of that. Heads up, most publishers won't accept your work without an agent. Getting an agent is very much the same as courting publishers, though, because they too will want a query, and each agent wants something different. Only give them what they have requested. Getting an agent is a very wise way to go in traditional publishing. They are your advocate to publishing agencies. They help you navigate the environment. They help you refine your book and your pitch, and they help you make valuable connections within the industry. They can also be very helpful when tax season comes around. Now, because agents boost your chances for success, it is even harder to court them. So I'll give you some advice on that front. Looking up agents is slightly different from going after different publishing companies. There are resources that help you find and connect with different agents. You can more easily find the kinds of agents that will take up your kind of book, be it horror, fantasy, nonfiction, adventure, romance, children, memoirs, etc. Like I said, they too will require that you write a query, and they will have their own very specific guidelines for how and what you send to them. If they want just an email, or if they want the whole manuscript of your book printed, or if they want it sent by carrier pigeon, you better do just that or they aren't responding to your query. And a word of caution here, double check their personal pages or company websites to find out when and what they are accepting and reading. Agents are always changing what they are doing because it keeps things fresh for them. And to be honest, it weeds out the not so determined writers. So if you really want to work with a specific agent, make sure you do your homework and write the query exactly according to their specifications. Then you wait. Yep, it's a waiting game to hear back from agents and publishers, and sometimes you are waiting for months to hear a response. Sorry, but it happens. Don't let that, however, discourage you, and don't feel bad about casting a wide net and appealing to as many publishers and agents as you possibly can. It helps your chances, believe you me. And I want to address the subject also at this juncture of gatekeeping. Yes, gatekeeping in publishing. It absolutely happens. However, there are so many agents and agencies out there that you'll very likely find someone that clicks with what you've written. But it can be just so frustrating to find that person or that agency that wants your book. Remember, they're in the business of making money. So they are chasing whatever makes money at that time or what is popular. If your story goes against that grain, it is going to be hard to get picked up. But please, don't fear the rejection that might come from these people. I've been turned down many times, and 100% of the time, they have been friendly and courteous. They have encouraged me and even given me free advice on what to do. They understand how hard it is to make it in this business, and they don't want to shatter your soul. They will treat you with professionalism and kindness, so long as you don't blow up at them. Naturally, there's a ton more of advice that I could give, but this video already is going to be long, and it could be hours longer. So, on this particular topic of traditional publishing, I have attached resources in the description that you can access, so that way you've got helpful websites and other hubs that you can use to get started. Because really, one of the hardest things when it comes to publishing traditionally is just knowing where to begin. There's so much out there, and there's a lot of scams and a lot of people who want to take advantage of you. Through my own experience, I've come across a couple of websites that are very helpful. So I will have links to those sites down in the description below. I have also put up a copy of my own query work on our subreddit to give you an idea of what it might look like and how you might refine what you yourself could do. If you are looking for more specific advice, you can always reach out to us over at our subreddit or at our Discord, both under the title Camille's Harem. And that's about all that I can give you right now in this video on how to publish for novice writers. I wish all of you the best of luck in your own writing endeavors. I'm rooting for you. And if it turns out that there's a whole lot of questions that come our way, then I might do another video that's a little bit more specific about one aspect of the publishing process or whatever it is that you guys need us to elaborate on. If you found this video helpful at all, please like and share it. And if you want to support us here at Camille's Harem, then please consider subscribing or checking out my newest book, Knights of Halicruise. It's an action-packed fantasy novel focusing on two teenagers who are transported to another world each night when they fall asleep. A world where their very imaginations can become reality. The only catches are, they are plopped right into the middle of a civil war, and all of their enemies have the exact same fantastical powers. A tale of adventure, heroism, and discovering yourself. I guarantee that if you are a fan of fantasy, Knights of Halicruise is a book that you'll want to read. Other than that, thank you so much for joining us on this adventure that we call writing. And until the next video, y'all, tschüss.